हाय देयर, मैं स्वागत करता हूँ आपका एक नई वीडियो में। ये काफ़ी शॉर्ट वीडियो होने वाली है और इसमें मैं बात करने वाला हूँ हाल्टिंग प्रॉब्लम, द फेमस ट्यूरिंग हाल्टिंग प्रॉब्लम। सो इसका एक काफ़ी मेरे को फेमस प्रूफ मिला है ये वेरिटेसियम की तरफ से, काफ़ी सिंपल। और मैं आपको प्रॉब्लम डिफाइन करने के बजाय आपको ये वीडियो ही चला के दिखाता हूँ।
Unsolved questions.
कॉपी स्ट्राइक नहीं आता।
So Turing said, let's assume we can make a machine H that can determine whether any Turing machine will halt or not on a particular input. You insert the program and its input, and H simulates what will happen, printing out either halts or never halts. For now, we don't worry about how H works, we just know that it always works. It always gives you the right answer. Now, we can modify the H machine by adding additional components. One, if it receives the output halts, immediately goes into an infinite loop. Another, if it receives never halts, then it immediately halts. We can call this entire new machine H+, and we can export the program for that entire machine. Now, what happens if we give this machine its own code both as program and input? Well, now, H is simulating what H plus would do given its own input. Essentially, H has to determine the behavior of a machine that it itself is a part of in this exact circumstance. If H concludes that H plus never halts, well, this makes H plus immediately halt. If H thinks H plus will halt, well, then that necessarily forces H plus to loop. Whatever output the halting machine H gives, it turns out to be wrong. There's a contradiction. The only explanation can be that a machine like H can't exist. There's no way to tell in general if a Turing machine
वेल दैट वाज टू मच टू प्रोसेस। फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग, मैंने इस वीडियो को एटलीस्ट 20 टाइम्स देखा था। उसके बाद मैं समझ पाया कि क्या कहने की कोशिश हो रही है, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली देयर इज ए फैलेसी, दिस प्रूफ इज रॉन्ग। सो by studying elementary mathematics, I can tell that this was a proof by contradiction. Let me introduce you what is proof by contradiction. Proof by contradiction works on the principle that a system is consistent, which means कि system के अंदर कोई भी operation करेंगे, they will have a well defined output. Basically a mathematical system है, तो if you do addition, subtraction and all sort of those things, then system will be consistent. So this is how a proof by contradiction work. We put a statement and we do some operations which are consistent operation like plus, minus, and some sort of things, and it will stay in this consistent system. And if by some manipulation we are able to we take this system, we manipulate it and make some totally different system, and we are able to prove that this manipulated system is totally absurd and it is not allowed within this consistent system, then this original statement must be false. सो मैं इसे सिंपल लैंग्वेज में, हिंदी में नहीं, काफ़ी बेसिक टर्म्स में बताने की कोशिश करता हूँ कि हम एक ऐसी हमने बात ली, कोई भी स्टेटमेंट ली या कोई भी, लेट्स से स्टेटमेंट इज़ नॉट वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स आई थिंक, और बाद में उसको एब्सर्ड प्रूव कर दिया। तो इसके लिए को स्टेटमेंट है कि रिडक्शन एड अब्सर्डम। तो हम कोई भी स्टेटमेंट ली और उस पे बिल्कुल ट्रू ऑपरेशंस किए, जैसे कि एक हमने एक इंसान को लिया और उसका इंटेरोगेशन में बिल्कुल नॉर्मल सवाल पूछे और लाइक इन मैनी मूवीज उस पे कुछ एब्सर्ड निकलवा दिया जिससे प्रूव होगा कि ओरिजिनल स्टेटमेंट रॉन्ग थी। तो दिस इज हाउ प्रूफ बाय कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन वर्क। और आपने पिछले प्रूफ को देख के पता लग ही गया होगा कि वो प्रूफ बाय कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन क्यों था, क्योंकि हमने ओरिजिनल स्टेटमेंट ली थी कि एच एग्जिस्ट और एक एब्सर्ड रिजल्ट निकाला जो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन था, तो वी हेंस प्रूव दैट this was a wrong statement. But the problem with this particular example which Veritasium give is that here we have not defined this system. I mean, we have defined, but we don't follow that condition. So, uh, if you have noticed that we have defined, or the Veritasium has defined two rules for a system. Number one is there is a program and there is an initial condition. Program is was that if you go about the animation, some this type of machine, and then there was a code going. So this was our first definition, that there is a program, there is initial condition, and then we will have two of the condition, which is either never halt or halt. We will say 0 1. This was the first definition. uh, Computer science students may take it for granted, but we have defined it here. In nature there is no such thing or law, so this is our first definition. Then there was our second definition, which was our H machine. What it does is it take two input, of which one is a program code, and second is a initial condition. So it is taking two input and giving a output same as either 0 or infinite. uh, we might be tempted to think, and I think कि वेटेसियम ने यहीं पे गलती की कि उसने सिस्टम डिफाइन तो किया लेकिन he didn't give too much weight, and he don't said that we have defined a system, because here we have two input. In our previous definition we have one input, uh, and one the machine is working, but here we have two initial condition, I should say. Sorry for quoting these words. So this machine has two initial condition, this machine has one initial condition. So we define two rules here, and where this system breaks in that video, when he say H plus, he defined a program, and I don't have any problem that he can define this machine with a one dimensional program. We can do that, but what he cannot do is give a one dimensional or one initial condition to this program, because we have defined that this machine H will work with two initial condition, and he put H plus as a first input, H plus as a initial condition, but he forgot to put a second, because this machine need two initial condition. And once the consistency of this system is broken, then the proof by contradiction become invalid. So I want to know the opinion of if someone is listening this, that if this logic is correct or wrong, because I think that simple mathematical principle have not been followed well, that he defined two system, first one initial condition machine, and second one a machine and two initial condition, and then he tried to mix up them. He used a program H plus, give initial condition H plus, and forgot to give the second initial condition, and that's where math broke, and I will not even talk about the video ahead. So over and out. I want to know your opinion if I'm wrong or he's wrong or what is going on.